Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757.
Good morning, Bryan.
Hey, good morning, Sofia. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
We made it.
We made it. What was that Soulja Boy song? We made it. That joint go hard. I might need to play that in the car today. Yeah.
Soulja Boy bring back memories.
Yeah, man. I remember Soulja Boy had everybody wanting to be like a DJ. I remember trying to get the little, because he had the app on his computer, the Fruity Loops. It was like the system that he used to make his
beats.
His beats, yeah. Which it was a very basic system. You would think hey, those beats used to crank back in the day. Crank that Soulja Boy. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember trying to it was that simple. He was explaining it or whatever. So
yeah, because he started the whole put yourself on type of thing,
correct.
Right?
Yeah. He was one of the first ones using YouTube and kind of those own little platforms to kind of do it yourself. Mm-hmm. And so yeah. But how's everything going? Are you good?
Everything's good.
It's good.
Just been crazy busy.
Yeah.
You don't even want to begin to know what my week has been like.
Wow. Well, go ahead and let us know. Let the people know. Let myself know. I keep up with you, so I kind of know a little bit. But what's going on?
So let me see. Let's start off with last week. So last week, so my daughter, she's the president of her student government, and so the 6th graders and the 7th graders had an award ceremony, and then the 8th graders had an award ceremony. And so because she's the president of the whole student body, she had to speak at the 6th and 7th grade award ceremony for grades. And then she also got good grades, and so she had to speak at her own award ceremony for 8th grade. So Monday night she had to speak at the 6th and 7th grade award ceremony. Tuesday, and then we had volleyball right after that at the oceanfront. So we literally ran from the award ceremony and shot it right down to 19th Street at the oceanfront for her to do volleyball until 9 p.m. Mm-hmm. And then on Tuesday, she had her own award ceremony. On Wednesday, my daughter is leaving primary, going to intermediate, so we had 3rd grade open house. And then on Thursday, my daughter plays sports, so that they had the sports award ceremony on Thursday.
Oh, wow.
And then Friday, we had volleyball. Oh, and I forgot to mention on Wednesday, we had volleyball right after the 3rd grade open house. Jeez. Friday, we had volleyball. And then Saturday, she had her 8th grade formal where she had to get dressed up. And that day...
You know what? I saw those pictures online.
Yes,
yeah.
We had to get up at 8 a.m., go get her nails done. Then I had to do her hair. And then she got dressed, and her date came over. They took pictures and stuff like that. And then we took them to the dance. The other parent picked them up. And it was like this whole big thing. You know how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
And... then Sunday, volleyball again. And then that turned into the next week.
Okay.
So I can't even remember what that week was like. But I feel like on Monday, I know for sure we have volleyball. On Tuesday, we went to the movies. On Wednesday, we have volleyball. On Thursday was the last day of school. So then we went to Chicks Beach.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
Went to Chicks Beach. It was beautiful. That's the best beach in Virginia Beach that I've ever been to. Okay. I actually got in the water.
Okay.
So that was nice. And then Friday, here we are. That's good. In between time, I'm officially licensed in Georgia.
Okay.
We went
finally.
Finally.
I've been telling you to do that for the longest.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't listen to me though.
Yep. I have closings that's been happening. Mm-hmm. Getting files cleared to close.
Okay.
I had Russell's Heating and Cooling come over.
Okay.
To do some maintenance stuff on my HVAC system.
Okay.
I went to a networking lunch at Cork and Bull.
Yep, I went to that too. Yeah.
I went to this thing called Food Truck Thursdays at the office.
Okay.
And yeah, that's
That's a lot.
It is a lot. I'm tired. I'm really tired.
You tired?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I could tell.
I'm tired.
That's a lot. I was tired of hearing you talk about it, so I
Right?
can imagine doing all of the things.
Yes.
Nah,
Yes.
that's
and
what's
then,
up, man.
And James is on the ship.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is all me.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. This is all me.
That's tough.
Right?
That's tough.
Very tough.
Yeah.
But it got done.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
I don't miss a beat.
I heard that. I heard that. Well, for me, big thing was my kids. They got out of school last week, and so they wanted to go down to the beach. So they got out of school on Wednesday, and then I took my son to the barbershop with me. We went and just kind of got a summer lineup, I guess you could say. And then on Thursday, we went down to the ocean front. Mm-hmm. That joint, man, it's crazy. So like, the plan was to go eat lunch at Mellow Mushrooms spot. We go down there all the time, get their pizza. I think their pizza is the best. It's really, really good. So we ate lunch there, and the plan was to check into the hotel because there's a new Embassy Suites hotel that's right beside the Marriott down on North End, which is really, really nice. The Marriott, every time we stay down there, every time we go down there, we stayed at the North End and stay at that Marriott on 41st Street. And so the Embassy Suites is right next door. They just opened it like a couple weeks ago, and so we went there to go check in at 2. They were like, the room wasn't ready yet. So we ended up having to like drive around. I had a closing to go to that day. It was a friend of my family, I would say, for the closing. So we went out there for that. It was way in Portsmouth. Then we came back and finally got into the room. But it was really nice. I mean, Embassy Suites, their hotel there is really, really nice. They have like a nice bar downstairs, and they.
Do you like the Embassy Suites or do you like the Marriott better?
That's funny. Brooke asked me the same question. I would say I give the slight edge to the Marriott. But Brooke actually said she liked the Embassy Suites a little bit better.
Are the rooms more modern?
They're they're updated. They're modern, just like I would say Marriott rooms were. You know, we stayed in
a one.
Embassy
Suites, you don't think that.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
For the most part. So.
That's true. But I think with it being brand new, I mean, it was modern. I mean, it was nice. They had granite countertops and stuff in the room, nice tile in the shower and everything. Okay. And we stayed in a 1-bedroom this time. Normally, we just stay in like a double bed, have like 2 beds, for the kids and for us.
So you got a suite.
Yeah, so we actually got a suite this time. So it was like an actual bedroom. They had like a kitchen and all that or whatever. So it was pretty cool.
Did y'all cook?
Nah. We had got food and we just kind of like kept it, in the refrigerator. Yeah, because we ate there. So goes into the next part. We went, like I mentioned to you. The good thing about, I would say, Embassy Suites is Marriott has 2 restaurants that are really good on property, but Embassy Suites, they give you a complimentary free buffet breakfast, which was really, really good because we had that the next morning. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, when we got there, they give you. There's a complimentary, there's a bar area. They give you 2 drinks per person. So we got 2 drinks per person, and then they give you like little finger food. They have like little stuff that you can get, and it's free. You just stand there. So anytime you stay there, you just get it. And so it was a whole bunch of people who were staying at the hotel. They were downstairs. They had their family and their kids and stuff. And so we were kind of just mixing, mingling, and just kind of doing our thing. So that was pretty cool. So we went to. They also have a restaurant on the backside that faces the beach called Tacos and Tequila. So that was pretty cool. So we ended up eating dinner there. It was, unfortunately, that weekend was kind of cold a little bit, I guess you could say. That evening it got pretty chilly. But we sat outside. We had a fire pit and everything out there, which was nice. And we got some food and some drinks. So that was pretty cool. And then I was tired, man. That day was a lot of ripping and running, nowhere near as much as what you did. So we ended up knocking out. And the next morning, we drove to Williamsburg and went to Busch Gardens. And so that was actually really good because a lot of people were graduating from high school then. I know your daughter graduated as well, or was graduating in that time frame too. And so I think everybody was focused on the graduations and really wasn't very many people there at Busch Gardens, man. So we were there, for the better part of all of Friday. And, we were able to get on rides back to back. And it was really good. That was probably the best that I can remember recently. The weather was great. And it really wasn't very many waits at all. So that was pretty cool. That weekend, Saturday, what did I do? I hung out with my daughter. My son went to a birthday party, which was to go see Spider-Man at the movies.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I went to go see Spider-Man, too. So we saw Little Mermaid and Spider-Man within the same week.
Oh, you did? Okay. Cool.
That's
good. Did you like Spider-Man?
No.
It wasn't good? Yeah,
No.
Brooke said it wasn't good either.
I love Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'm a Marvel fan.
She said it was all over the place. It was just like...
It was too... Yeah, it was all over the place. Yeah. And then it's
she said that the end was pretty decent, but she said like...
Yeah, the ending was actually pretty decent because it kind of came together, but at the beginning it was all over the place. There was a lot going on. I feel like it didn't really follow the same storyline as all the other Marvel movies. They did implement some of the things that happened in the first Spider-Man. Okay. Because that Spider-Man that came out was like a follow-up to another Spider-Man. Okay. Like that same little boy was in the first Spider-Man, and he was in this one. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it was nice, like, to see that they actually implemented the two, and it's a black leading, character. But nah, I didn't like it. Yeah, I was sitting there so confused. Too. Yeah. It was glitchy. It was like that's what it was about. It was about like kind of like you know how Doctor Strange is, where they in these time warps and they jump in multiverses and stuff like that. I don't like that. Yeah. I only watch Doctor Strange to actually keep up. I don't watch Doctor Strange because I like it.
Gotcha. Yeah. I got you.
I prefer, I hate that I don't know what's going to happen with Iron Man. I know he passed away or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In the Marvel series, but hopefully he comes back somehow. Okay. And so did Captain America. Okay. Remember he flashed back. I don't know if you keep up with it, but he flashed back and went back and with his original girlfriend, and he became like an older man. I don't know how he did it, but he like jumped multiverse and then went back and actually had a family with this lady, but he can actually jump back, so that might be something that happens later on, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay. We will see. I love Marvel, but yeah, wasn't a fan of that. The Mermaid was good. I saw that. Yeah. Only thing I didn't like about the Mermaid was The Little Mermaid, was the fact that it was a very dark movie. Mm-hmm. It was good. Obviously, we knew exactly what was going to happen. The two parts that I was looking forward to was the kitchen scene that they didn't have when Sebastian was about to get cooked. Yeah. I hate that they didn't have that part because I remember that song that they sung during that time frame of the movie. And then, what was the second part? It was another part that I missed, but I can't remember right now, but I was looking forward to seeing those two parts, and I didn't see them. Gotcha. Yeah, but it was still a good movie, though. Yeah, it was a good movie. It definitely was a good movie. I agree with you there. We saw Little Mermaid, like I mentioned to you. I think like the first weekend. Yeah, I saw it when it first came out. Yeah, when it first came out. It was a Monday. Yeah, it was Memorial Day. Yeah, Memorial Day. Okay, yeah. Because we was out of school. Something. Yeah, the kids were out of school that day, so we went and checked it out. So yeah, it was dope. But yeah. So Saturday, going back where I was saying, Saturday, me and Sloan kind of hung out, did our thing. Brooke took Niall to the movie theater to go see the Spider-Man for his birthday. Or not for his birthday, but for another kid's birthday. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool. And then outside of that, just been kind of chilling, to be honest with you. Just working. Like you said, amidst the busy time with it being the summer, we're getting a lot more applications, a lot more deals on the contract. I had a crazy situation where a buyer, was under contract, was supposed to close, and 2 days before closing, the seller and listing agent found out that the seller owed an additional $70,000 that they didn't know about. We were like, what? Like, how do you not know that, like, this far into the game? And mind you, the buyer that I'm doing the loan for, she's 35 weeks pregnant, and, she's already sold her home. So she already had a home that she owned. So she was already in the process of selling her home to purchase this new home because she needed the proceeds to help her with some of the costs with this new purchase. So she had already signed the dotted line and sold the home, and then she finds this information out. And so we were scrambling, and then, we had basically 10 days between, when she had to be out of her house because she did a rent back for like 10 days just to be on the safe side, which we're glad that she did that. And she was able to find something else, and me and the agent was able to get her closed, within 10 days. So it was a miracle. I'm not gonna lie to you. And the house she got was better. She likes this one better. So it's funny how things work out like that, right? Yeah, that's. Because it was when she got the news, man. She was like
shocked. Like it
I'm
was
surprised
like
she wasn't. I would have been stressed.
yeah, no,
like,
she was very
the hell
stressed.
out.
She was very
Like,
stressed. Yeah,
especially
yeah.
like 35 weeks. I already know that's the time frame that you start not being able to sleep as much.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
your
hot
body
out.
start
It's
aching.
hot outside.
It's hot outside.
Yeah,
you
you're
gotta
moody.
pee every day, all day. Every 10 minutes, you gotta go to the bathroom. I don't know if she's actively working, but if
Yeah, she
you're
works from
working,
home. Yeah,
that was her first child.
yeah, it's her first child. Yeah.
Listen, that the stress is there when it's your first child. You know, you're trying to figure shit out because you've never done it before.
Yeah.
It's even stressful when you already got kids because now you got to figure out what to do with those. I mean, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So yeah, she's
Happy now.
She's happy. Yeah, she's happy now. She's able to get moved in right before the baby comes. She said she already had like the nursery and all that stuff like picked out and everything. So that's dope. I'm excited for them. But yeah, that's pretty much my last week and a half has been. I mean, it's been pretty busy, but really productive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now it's time to jump into exercise your knowledge since we went over what we did for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hopefully we didn't tire you out listening to all that.
Right.
But during this segment, we ask you a mortgage-related question. We want you to think about the answer, hold it in the back of your brain, and then we will reveal the answer later on in the segment. So today's exercise your knowledge question is, what is an EMD, aka earnest money deposit? Do you know what that is? Do you know what it's for? Think about it, and we will give you the answer later on in the segment.
Cool.
All right, so today's topic is house hacking.
Yeah.
Is it legal? Can we do that? Do you know what house hacking is?
Yeah. It sounds bad though, doesn't it? Sound like house hacking, like this is like your computer gets hacked or your phone gets hacked, So yeah.
But it's actually a good term when it comes to mortgage. So it's basically identifying how to maximize your opportunity when it comes to purchasing a property, right?
Yeah.
So one of the ways that you can maximize your opportunity is, let's say you're a single person, or maybe a person with a kid, it doesn't really matter, and you're a first-time home buyer. Well, when you're a first-time home buyer, you have the opportunity to purchase a single-family home, a townhome, a condo, but you also have the opportunity to purchase a duplex. As long as you're planning on occupying one of the units, you could buy that property as a non-investment property. So ultimately what that means is, as the lender, we take a look at occupancy. So it's our job to figure out, are you going to truly live in this house? And if you are, then you get a little bit of a break when it comes to your down payment and your interest rate. And so if you're a first-time home buyer, it's always a good choice to buy something like a duplex, because then when you're living in that duplex, you're actually collecting rent from the other side. The rent can potentially pay for, if not your whole mortgage, a portion of your mortgage, making your monthly expenses for your housing a lot lower.
Yeah, that's
and also true. When we're qualifying you, if that side is already being rented, we can actually use that income to lower your debt to income ratio to get you into that property a lot sooner. So that's one way to house hack, and I think it's awesome. I wish I would have done that and purchased a duplex my first time around. So here lately, I've been actually trying to get my niece, because she's a single person, doesn't have any kids yet. I'm like, girl, go buy a duplex. I've actually even looked up duplexes. Like, look, let's go look at this one. Let's go figure this out so you can get into this house. Stop saying you can't do it right now. Now is the best time.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, because she's still living that whole kind of like single roommate life. So I'm like, girl, you can buy this house, rent out one side, live in one side, and then still rent a room and make 2 times the rent. And then when you decide that you're ready to move on, get married, and do all those things, you'll have an income producing home, and then be living in another home later when you decide to purchase something new.
Yeah, that's as they say, that's free game right there, man.
Yes.
That's definitely a hacking way of looking at it.
Yes.
Buying that multi-unit, and not even, like Sophia just said, not even just a duplex. Sometimes you can find a triplex or a quad, because when it comes to real estate financing, when it comes to residential financing, the most that you can do is a 4-unit property, right? So, typically duplexes are probably going to be easier to find and easier to manage, especially with you being a first-time home buyer, because you're really having to just worry about the one unit beside you. But or even on top of you. I guess it depends on how the duplex is set up. But, sometimes you might come across an opportunity where you can buy like a triplex or a quad, and that's really a game changer if you can get that many, because that can really set you up for the future, using those rents. I mean, you can, probably pocket a couple of $1,000s extra a month after the mortgage has been accounted for, once you move in or even once you move and move out as well. So, yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I wanted to kind of chat about today was, I know a lot of times people will come to me, and when it comes to you buying a home, and let's say you've already, used your first time home buying and you bought a duplex, as Sophia mentioned, then when it comes to your next purchase, right, a lot of times people think they have to either sell that current home that they have so they can now qualify for that new mortgage, or they feel that they have to have the house rented first before they can move. So that kind of puts them in a situation where they may have to live somewhere temporarily or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But that's actually not the truth. There's actually ways around that. You could potentially get, like on a VA loan, for instance, right? For a VA loan, you can have your agent who's helping you buy a house send comps of what the normal rent amount is for that particular area, for that kind of type of home that you're in, that you're going to be leaving. And we can use that to offset the mortgage payment, right? Yeah. So that's a game changer, right? So it allows you to be able to kind of stay in your house and transition from your old house or your current home into your new home without actually having to have at least having somebody move in there and kind of put you or have you displaced for a temporary time.
Correct.
So that's huge. And second, honestly, just even if you already have, like, let's say a single family home or a condo and you're buying something else, we can utilize a lease, as I just mentioned to you, right? So we can utilize a lease that can now start within 30 days of when you plan on closing on your new home. So again, you don't have to be displaced. We can use 75% of whatever that lease amount is to help offset your current mortgage payment, mm-hmm. which will now allow you to purchase something and really maximize your buying power. Correct. So we don't want to handcuff you and put you in a situation where the only way you can qualify to buy a new home is having to qualify using the full amount for both mortgages. There's a way to offset your current mortgage payment by having some type of lease or some type of something in place to say, hey, this is what this house is going to be rented for, and that's going to allow you to really almost in most cases cancel out that full mortgage payment and allow you to have maximum buying power with that new purchase. So that's another way that we consider house hacking, and honestly, you could continue doing that over and over again. I've helped several people. Like, I got a buddy of mine named Mo. I mean, I've helped him buy 5-6 houses over the years, and he's a single guy. And what he does is every single year he just buys a new home, and he stays in it for about a year or so. And then after about a year or so, he gets a tenant in there, and then he buys another home. And he does the same thing, and he buys another home, and he just continues to multiply that situation. And he tells me that, hey, he's going to continue to do it until he finds his wife. And, once that happens, he has all these properties that can kind of take, springboard them as far as their wealth and their journey together. So, mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's a huge way to go about it. I mean, I kind of wish I would have done that, when I was coming up. I mean, I did the smart thing by buying something young early, but, I should have bought like a multi-unit home or just kind of buying something every single year. Is something that really you can really take advantage of and really, have a whole bunch of properties lined up by the time you're actually ready to build with someone.
Exactly. So, yeah. Exactly. So that's another way of doing things. And then another thing that isn't mentioned as much is the Geo Bachelor.
Yep.
You just recently had this situation come up, so I'll go ahead and let you explain it. But I know that it was also your first time, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was. Yeah, Sophia, man. She gave me game again, man. It's fun. That's why we work together as a team, man. I want to give you your love on that one, man. I want to give you your love because, like I said, that was a pretty decent purchase that I helped. So I had this guy who I helped him buy a house probably like 6 or 7 years ago here locally in Hampton Roads. He's military. He'd used his VA loan. I've actually helped him refinance a couple of times that same home once rates got lower and everything. And, he's always reached out to me, asked me questions on certain things and all that good stuff. And he's referred me some other people as well, which has been great. So anyway, he's here in Virginia. He just recently got orders to go to Mississippi, right? And, his family is here in Virginia, and he has extended family in Georgia. And so that's ultimately where he wanted to end up, right? His kids are like all in that age where they're like getting ready to become high school and all that. And he wanted them to be in a certain area.
So they can finish.
So they can finish their, the rest of their public schools, right? Mm-hmm. So what we did, and I didn't even know this. I'm thinking when someone has orders somewhere, I know VA loan is very strict on you have to live in it, you have to live in it, you have to live in it, right? So I'm thinking when it comes to him buying a home, he has to buy a home in Mississippi because that's where his orders has him at. That's where he's staying on base, he's living there, and he has to buy something in the same state that he's working in, right? Same area. But
now, before you continue, I want to make this disclaimer that this is only for VA loans.
Correct.
Strictly VA. This is what this is what geobashling. This is when geobashling comes in. Only for VA.
Yep.
So go
yeah.
ahead.
Only VA loans. And so what we were able to do in this situation is he was able to buy a home in Georgia, which is not very far from Mississippi. It's a couple hours away. But he was able to buy a home in Georgia and get his family into that home, right? So his family, it's the summertime now, and they wanted to do it during this, which it worked out perfectly. So the kids didn't have to miss any school or have to, move during the school year or anything like that. So he bought a home. He was able to buy a home in Georgia, still be in Mississippi, rent out the home that he has here in Virginia. We were able to utilize some of the amount that he's able to get the house rented for, as well. VA, like I mentioned to you earlier, VA, all we have to do is get the comps and show you what the home is, what Templey would rent for. He was able to get the comps from his agent, utilize that amount to offset his current mortgage payment, and he was able to buy his forever home, or a pretty expensive home down in Georgia, and put his family there. And so now he's able to go up and see his family as much as it allows, as much as the military allows. And then ultimately, once he's out of the military, because what he told me, this is probably going to be his last tour, he only has 3 years left, then he can go to Georgia, and that's where his family is, and be there and spend time there. So kind of, really get ahead of the game versus having to wait until after he gets out of the military. So he was able to use his VA benefits, use his income that he's making now, and really maximize that situation, which was a win. And I didn't even know you can do that. And Sophia kind of gave me game on being able to maneuver that situation.
Correct. So geobashling ultimately means that the military member is living separately from his family. And so the VA recognizes that sometimes that can happen. And in this case, he was stationed in Mississippi. He wasn't living in a house in Mississippi. He was living in the barracks and on base. And he had housing that was pretty much free, right? And his family was here in Virginia. And so the VA recognizes the family as occupying a property as well. And so that's why he was given the opportunity to buy the house in Georgia. Even though he physically wasn't there, his family occupying that house satisfies the occupancy. And so with his family moving there, they're able to utilize that VA home loan because they're moving into the property within 60 days of them closing, which definitely that was what was happening.
Yep.
And he was able to rent this house in Virginia, and he's still living on base for free, so he doesn't have any housing expense. Now, this same thing can happen even if he was purchasing a home in Mississippi. So he could have a house, have an apartment, have whatever in Mississippi, and still buy a house as a primary residence for his family. But in that case, we would just have to consider both of those rents or mortgages and account them towards his debt to income ratio. But in this case, he didn't have a housing expense, so he was able to utilize and maximize all his money going towards that new property, which helped because he needed it for his debt to income ratio.
Yeah.
So.
And even give you more game, another hack is the home that he has here in Virginia. Like I mentioned to you, when I helped him buy the house initially, he bought it using his VA loan, right? And so he only had a certain amount of entitlement left with his VA loan. So this new purchase initially was going to require him to have to put down about $50,000 because once this new purchase happened, it was over the $600,000 price point. He would have maximized his entitlement, and he would have had to put money down to make up for the difference, right? Now, what we did ahead of time is we refinanced out of the VA loan to a conventional loan, which then restored his entitlement. So now he was able to have full entitlement for this new purchase. And so for that new purchase, he didn't have to put any money down.
Correct.
So that was another hack. That's another way, and I've done that actually several times. That's something else that you could also do. So if you're kind of like a planner and you know ahead of time, like, hey, I have a VA loan on a home right now. the next purchase I'm looking at purchasing is going to probably be over your entitlement. And you can reach out to us as a mortgage professional. We can kind of do the numbers on that. We would have to get a copy of your certificate of eligibility and kind of see exactly how much entitlement you have left. And if your new purchase is going to be over that amount, then a way to kind of save you some money as far as not having to put a certain amount of money down for that new purchase is maybe to refinance your current home out of a VA loan to a conventional loan, which then restores and fulfill or really it gives you your full entitlement back, right? Mm-hmm. So it allows you to be able to potentially purchase at a much higher price point and not have to put any money down.
Yes. So yes, you can use your VA home loan more than one time.
Correct.
So you can use, as long as you have entitlement, as long as you have enough entitlement left, you could reuse that VA loan as many times as you want to. So if you decide that you want to buy a house using your VA loan and then live in it for a few years, refinance it into a conventional loan, you could buy it again. Or if you have enough entitlement, you may be eligible to buy 2 homes under your VA entitlement. As long as your story makes sense and we could justify why you're doing what you're doing, then we can make it work. It's just we can't do any mortgage fraud, but we can definitely help you with your specific circumstance, because everybody's circumstance is different. You may be wanting to buy up. You may be wanting to buy down. You may be wanting to buy closer because of traffic. You may be wanting to buy because of your family. I mean, there's so many different reasons why people buy. We just have to make sure that it makes sense.
Yeah. And that's something big. I want to just say this real quick is that's why it's very important on who you use when it comes to buying a house, right? What mortgage professional you use, because a lot of people in our industry don't know these things. Like Sophia just mentioned, I've been doing this for 15 years and there was something that I didn't know, right? Mm-hmm. But being able to have Sophia to lean on and vice versa, we work well together as a team to be able to make sure that, we pretty much have all bases covered, when it comes to any type of question or any type of situation, right? Because people have different things going on in their lives, and a lot of times, it may be a unique situation that there's a way to still, maneuver to make it happen. But if you're talking to someone who doesn't have the experience or doesn't have the know-how, they'll just may tell you no, that it can't happen. And
exactly.
then, they always say bad news or incorrect news travels quicker than the truth.
Yep.
So a lot of times you'll start hearing, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then that's just kind of known that you can't do it when you might be able to do it, right? So being able to have that person who knows what they're doing and really exhausts all options for you is very important when it comes to the home lending process.
Exactly. And, the more years or the more skin in the game that you have is what you say, right?
Yep.
The more experience you get, and the more experience you get, that's how you're able to work through these different scenarios. So a lot of people, when they're new in the game, not saying that they aren't good, but sometimes it's all about experience too. So you have to go through something to understand something sometimes.
Correct.
And I feel like with the amount of years you've been in, the amount of experience that I have, because even though you've been in longer, there was a time where I was probably producing just like so much, in that time frame that I have been in.
Yeah.
And so it's with the two combined, we have definitely experienced a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of different scenarios.
Correct.
So, yeah. All right, guys. So do you have another house hacking tip?
Fresh off my mind, no. I mean, there's several different ones out there. I think I wanted to kind of just limit to the handful of ones.
I have one.
Oh, you do? Oh, what you got? My bad. What you got?
All right. So earlier this year, I had a client that had a house that was paid in full. So we all have some clients that, they've been very successful, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they've been really utilizing their portfolio the best way that they can, or maximizing their opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had someone who, I'm not even sure if her house was inherited, and a lot of people are starting to inherit houses now, because a lot of the baby boomers are unfortunately starting to transition, into the next life, and those homes are going to their family members. And so I had someone who had a home that was paid in full, and she wanted to purchase something different. So we basically took that property, we refinanced it, took cash out, and she was able to use that cash to put down on a triplex. So now she's paying, mortgages now, obviously, but she's getting 3 rents from a triplex, plus, she's renting out the one home that she refinanced, and she's making double or triple the amount of that she's paying in mortgage.
Yeah.
So that's another way to house hack. So if you have an opportunity where you've bought a home in the past and you find yourself having some equity in that property and you want to expand your portfolio, you can also refinance to take some of that money out and then use it to purchase another property.
Yeah. And also another thing, now that we're just going there, I'm going to go there too, right? So now that it's, another thing is strengths and numbers, right? So if you're in a situation where you're, dating someone or getting ready to get married or whatever the case may be, I always tell folks to both of you buy a house first, right? Mm-hmm. Before you guys' living situation combines. What you can do is you could have one of you buy one house, the other you buy another house, and then, when you guys do come together, you could potentially live in one and then rent the other one out, or you can just buy a new one together and then rent both of the houses out that you bought individually. So that's another house hacking thing. I actually did that personally myself with Brooke. I was like, hey, look, you should buy this house, even though, she was pretty much kind of like living with me, we were living together. Like, it was like, hey, you go ahead and buy this house, and boom. And then, that point, we bought another house together. We had both of the houses rented out. So, yeah, it's another way to definitely house hack. And like I said, kind of start your investment piece up front. Because a lot of times people think, hey, we got to secure our housing for ourselves first, and then we got to go out there and try to buy these investment properties. When you could really have the foresight to say, hey, I'm going to buy these houses now to live in temporarily, but they're going to be investment properties. And then once your living situation then put you in a situation where you do combine your life with someone, then those properties have already been purchased.
Exactly.
So that's a way of getting around not having to put as much money down. Because, when you're buying an investment property, you're going to have to put down at least 20% in most cases, 15 to 20%, 25% depending upon if it's a multi-unit property or not.
Correct.
So, to kind of get around that, when you're buying a house as a primary residence, you could buy houses as little as 3%, 5%, sometimes nothing down, depending on the loan type and if you're a first-time home buyer and what you qualify for. So you're able to kind of buy that investment property as a primary up front because you're living in it, and then as you transition to something else, boom, you have that investment property without having to, liquidate a lot more money than you would have to do a purchase on the back end. So,
exactly. And then another good tip. Well, we got tips for days.
Okay.
So another good tip is with Virginia housing. So this is for all the people who live locally here in this area. You mentioned, potentially purchasing a home with zero down. So with Virginia housing, if you live in an economic or you're purchasing in an economic opportunity area, you actually don't have to be a first-time home buyer to utilize their down payment assistance program. Yeah. So if you know how to navigate a computer and you could type.
I hope that's everybody.
Well, some people act like they can't.
You're right.
But you can go to Virginia Housing's website and you could take a look at their map, and you can type in specific addresses and it'll tell you if it's in a targeted area, and if it is, you actually don't have to be a first-time home buyer to utilize that program to purchase. So that's another house hack. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
But it has to be specific, and don't think of it as, economic opportunity area is the bad area, because it's not. Mm-hmm. Most of Virginia Beach, besides the oceanfront, is actually an economic opportunity area. And so don't think of it, like I said, don't think of it as a bad area, because Virginia Beach, for the most part, it's pretty good for the most part. I mean, they obviously everywhere has some of their, hidden areas that are pretty messed up. Yeah. But
College Park, what up?
Well, College Park always isn't bad.
No, I'm not saying. I was just saying what up because it's a neighborhood of Virginia Beach. That's where I grew up. College Park, what up?
But it came in at the wrong time.
I guess it did. I did
insert it. It transitioned as if it was like that.
Man. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Because I've been in some places in College Park that look pretty decent to me. I mean, it looked like
College
Park, family areas.
Yeah.
But then I've also been in some areas in College Park where it's like, hold on, wait, am I riding in the right neighborhood?
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, that's just one other tip. But I mean, of course, there's so many different tips and tricks and ways to get things done. So definitely reach out to your mortgage professional, because depending on your specific circumstance, that's going to allow us to be able to help you. It's not a blanket type of situation where one size fits all. It's definitely not that. So
correct.
Definitely reach out to us if you have any questions about your particular circumstance.
Absolutely.
All right. So earlier in the segment, guys, we asked a question. This was this segment is called Exercise Your Knowledge. And so in this segment, we asked you guys, what is an EMD, or AKA earnest money deposit? So, drum roll. Did you want to explain this one?
Sure. Yeah, earnest money deposit is typically the money that you put when you're putting in an offer to purchase a home.
Yep.
So when you're buying a home, again, remember, you're talking in most cases hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And so if you're buying a home and you get on a contract, that seller now is no longer taking other offers on that home, right? Because they're in a binding contract with you. And so what an earnest money deposit does is it binds that contract. It's basically like collateral, right?
It's a good faith deposit towards your transaction.
Exactly. So, it's typically depending on the purchase price. I mean, I've seen it anywhere to be $500 to 1% of the purchase price, even more in some instances.
Yeah, some instances. Construction.
Yeah, it just depends. It just shows the seller that in good faith you do plan on moving forward to purchase the home. And if there's something that doesn't happen that's agreed upon in this contract, a lot of times that's the money that goes to the party who didn't default, right? So if there's a seller and the seller, did everything in good faith that was on the contract, and the buyer pulled out for whatever reason or failed in the terms for whatever reason, then the seller is able to keep that money for their lost time or, for whatever the situation, is. But yeah, earnest money deposit basically is just that money, that deposit towards the purchase of a home that a buyer presents at the time of an offer.
Exactly. Yep. And so like Bryan mentioned, sometimes your earnest money deposit can be non-refundable depending on if you, as the buyer, what they call it when you what is it called when you default on a contract?
Yeah.
So if you do anything outside of what's mentioned in that contract, you can risk your earnest money deposit.
Correct.
But let's say you don't and everything goes well, that earnest money deposit is contributed towards your transaction. So it's not an extra fee that you pay the seller. It's just your money going towards your transaction. And it's a good faith deposit letting the seller know, like, hey, I'm really interested in this property. I want to move forward. Yeah. It's ultimately what it means. And it's held in escrow. Yep. Until you get to closing, and then that money is then transferred to your transaction. Yeah,
it's typically held in escrow by the closing attorney that you're using, or the title company, or even sometimes the real estate broker who's helping you with that particular transaction. Sometimes they'll hold it in their escrow as well. So it's either one of those, and then like Sophia mentioned, it is credited towards the transaction. It's not an extra fee. It's nothing like that. It's just money that's being held in good faith, for you to purchase that particular home. And if all your costs are being paid in the transaction and there's nothing to apply it to, then you do get it refunded after you close.
Yeah. All right, guys. So what you got coming up next?
What I got coming up next. So I got my buddy, his daughter is graduating. I know you just mentioned your daughter graduating, getting ready to go to high school. So I got one of my good buddies, his daughter is actually graduating and getting ready to go off to college. So she's graduating high school.
What college?
She's going, it's in West Virginia. It's West Virginia State, I believe.
Oh.
There's HBCU up there in West Virginia. She runs track. And so she'll be running track up there. She got a track scholarship up there. So they're very excited. But yeah, he's having
Congratulations.
He's having like a graduation party for her. And like I said, they're close family friends. They live in our neighborhood. So we're going to go over there and, check them out, say what's up, celebrate, their daughter, doing big things. Yeah. So that's pretty
awesome.
much what I got going on this weekend. I know it is Father's Day. So, I'm hoping to, have some blessings for Father's Day, so we'll see.
Well, happy Father's Day to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, today is the last day of volleyball. Let me not say last day, but the last day for this spring league.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about getting her into sand volleyball, so hopefully we'll see. We'll see. But
okay.
So last day of driving to the oceanfront for at least 2, 3, 4 weeks. So I'm excited about that. She has a friend that's having a birthday dinner, and then they're going bowling tomorrow. So I have to be transportation for that. So I'll be her personal Uber.
Okay.
For that. And then on besides that, I mean, I just plan on relaxing. I feel like I've earned, a few days of doing nothing.
Yeah.
I do feel like that. So.
Yeah, especially the summer too for public school, man. Summertime. I know a lot of the public schools, like I mentioned, is they're all graduating. So I know a lot of kids are going to be, in the house or be wanting to chomp at the bit and do things. So I know your kids are probably going to be wanting to do some stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I want to check out that tacos and tequila place.
Yeah.
I definitely want to check them out.
It was pretty good. It's really small though. I'll tell you that. Like I would probably recommend going on a day where, which is probably gonna be difficult during the summer, but try to go maybe like on a not high traffic time, because it's literally like 12 to 15 people can fit there. Like, that's it. Like, they got the pool. So, maybe if you're like sitting at the pool, maybe you can eat too. But like that immediate area is very, very small.
Very small.
Very small. Yeah.
Okay.
There's like 3 or 4
you don't
tables.
have to be a part of. You don't have to stay in the hotel to visit the restaurant or anything.
No.
So, like, do they let you access the pool without like staying in?
It's a good question. It's a
Yeah.
good question. I don't know. I
Okay.
think I don't know. I can't even begin to answer. I don't know.
Are
I
they
didn't see anybody
associated
out
with
there.
the bar that's outside? Like, can you take the tacos and all that to the beach bar area?
You can. And one thing I didn't know that I learned there is Embassy Suites and Marriott, you're able to, like, they cross each other. So you're able to, like, be at Embassy Suites and order food from Tulu and Orion's Roof.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can actually call room service and they can deliver food from the restaurant
that's pretty cool.
across. So
that right there is
that was something that was pretty dope. Yeah, I didn't even know that, But when we stayed there, you could see on the phone it said it had the list of all the other restaurants. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty
nice.
cool. So but as far as if you're not staying at either one of the places and you're just like there at the pool, like I don't know how that dynamic is or whatnot, but that was one good thing I thought was pretty cool,
Yeah. Yeah. One restaurant though that I want to try, when I was at Chicks Beach, I saw this restaurant called Bowie 44.
Okay.
Or something like that. Mm-hmm. It looked pretty. It looked like it was a nice spot. So I would definitely want to go back.
Okay.
One of these days. But that particular day, we had already brought food, so I went to Jimmy John's and got like a bunch of different sandwiches, and then had them cut them in thirds, and then we had ordered pizza. So we really didn't even have to leave the beach. Like we literally ate. Hit the water, came back, ate. Everybody snacked. We had juice, we had water, we had donuts, we had pizza, we had sandwiches, we had chips. So they had snacks galore.
Okay. Okay.
They had plenty to do. So we didn't even have to attempt to go inside of a restaurant. By the time we left, all we had to do was come home, shower, and go to bed.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and we didn't leave the beach until like it was dark when we left. Yeah,
that's what's up.
It was pretty, it was like 9. So
okay, yeah, sun doesn't get dark till it doesn't get dark now until about 8:30, 9 o'clock now. So that makes sense.
We left right as the sun had already set. So,
okay, that's what's up.
It was a nice time, definitely a good time. I had a good time at Chicks Beach, and I usually don't like the beaches here, but
you be
that
hating
one
on
was
us.
nice.
You be hating on us.
The water ain't even blue.
Man, you be hating on us, man.
Is it not blue? What color is the water?
Well, we've already talked about this. Was it
never
brackish?
talked about it on the
brackish?
podcast.
What is it called?
We talked about it at the event,
at
not on the
Mimosa
podcast.
event. Okay.
What color is your water?
What color is my water?
Yeah.
You like this mine? Like I got my name.
You claiming it?
I'm from here,
Yeah.
man.
So
Virginia
what
Beach.
color is your water?
What color is it? It's like brownish, like it's brackish. You know what it's called? Brackish.
Exactly.
So, but still, the beach here, man, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Virginia Beach for
And
life,
the water
baby.
was cold.
Let's say Virginia's for lovers, man. I guess you can, but we different here, man.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But the water, I guess the water is loving on each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
All right. So you want to hit them with the quote of the day?
Yeah. So like Sophia says all the time, we always try to leave you with some positivity. So we typically leave you with a quote or some wise words that we felt moved to share. So today, the quote is, "The cost of discipline is far cheaper than the regret."
That's it.
Oh, then regret. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Let me repeat that one more time. The cost of discipline is far cheaper than regret. So, I think that's dope. I think that's really a good, quote, because for me, it's like, hey, when you're disciplined in something, when you're willing to sacrifice, that always is better and doesn't cost as much, for you and for your long term than just being disciplined in a situation and being regretful that you didn't do something, when you were supposed to do it and when you knew you should do it.
Yep,
So
it's far cheaper.
Yeah.
You pay for it when you regret something because it
Correct.
sits on you for forever.
correct.
But,
Yeah.
when you're
Like-
disciplined in something, you typically don't have much regret.
Correct. My man Jay-Z said Reasonable Doubt on one of his songs was called Don't Live Life with Regrets. So I forget the name of I think the song might be called Regrets, but
Go ahead, spit a what they call it, a bar.
nah, I'm not gonna spit no bar. I can play the song real
No,
quick.
no, 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 no,
No,
no,
that's
no,
what's
no.
wrong with that? I can't play the song real quick. What you mean?
Oh Lord, here we go.
Yeah, just a little real quick jump. You know what I'm saying? Hold on.
You gonna make the speaker
I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Yeah, it's called Regrets. There we go.
You should know the lyrics as much as you love Jay-Z.
I do know the lyrics, but this album came out in 1996 though. There we go.
Stress.
Hold on, go to the chorus.
Difficult to read them. The windows to his soul were half colors. Make me wanna ease the stress and learn to drive. Don't forget in order to survive, gotta learn to live with regrets.
Yeah. That was the chorus right
Oh,
there.
okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I never heard that song before.
Yeah. It's old school Jay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we have for today. Again, you can follow us on social media. On Instagram, I'm Bryan with the Y _Royster. It's ROYSTER.
And I'm SKB_mortgage.
Okay.
All right, guys. So thank you for listening to our podcast, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.